Hey, welcome back everybody. Today we are talking about how to make fast scrap now, whether you're a solo, duo, trio, or even a small group. And this is for Rust Console Edition for the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, Next Generations, and everything in between. And I'm Jade Monkey. And this is also for PC, let's not forget. Alright, so you might be asking yourself, hey, I might be starting a new server. This could be wipe day. This could be a couple days into the wipe. And you're like, look, I'm a solo or a duo, and how do I get a nice foothold and progression? How do I make that scrap quickly? Well, there's a lot of new ways to make scrap, and maybe some old ways you haven't really thought of. And one in particular, which I think a lot of people are confused about, are horses. Now, for us on console, we're not going to get horses till a bit later. This is 2023. We'll probably see it like June or July on PTB. But this, we can make fertilizer with this, and these guys do spawn without the horses as of right now. Now, when these spawn in, obviously this technique that's over on console will just go to the horses themselves. But right now, these are actually spawning across the map. And we'll go over more of this in detail because there's like a whole branch for this. But just know that you can make fertilizer, and you can get these. They spawn in barrels, and they also spawn randomly in the world. But let's hit some other scrap points here real fast before we hit that, because there's a lot of different ways to do it. Now, there's scrapping, okay, on the water, which is arguably the safest way to go out there and do it, because you can see people coming, and if you have the all-important scuba kit, you can even save your loot. So if somebody comes up on you, you're on the boat or something, right? Say like a Zerg's coming to oil rig, you can pop on your scuba equipment and just deep dive and just take off. Not to mention, there's also a lot of underwater places you can go and actually find even more loot. You can find rock formations, sunken ships, stuff like that. A lot of people don't even know that, or they kind of forgot that that was there. It's a great place to get started, especially if you're solo and the server is extremely hot. So another great way, if you do find yourself a boat, is to go out fishing. You can take just about anything organic and attach it to a fishing rod. It'll tell you what the bait level is, and then you can go out there and actually just fish your little heart out. I think we made, what, 700, 1,000 scrap in like an hour? Is that right? Yeah, I think it was like 1,000 scrap. We were just sitting off the boat, brand new, just took a little bit of low grade, started fishing. And as soon as you find yourself a fishing village, you can cash a lot of this stuff out. And that's my next point. You can go out there and actually fish on a boat, but you can actually fish off the side of your base. But you can also use fish traps to passively fish while you're out there around your base, or I should say around the base, and then while you're out there. So you can actually have two forms of income. Fishing villages are quite nice, and again, those vending machines, you'll find them at the fishing villages, both large and small. Let's see, sharks, yellow perch, trout are okay, but they're mostly like, you gotta usually find them in bulk. It's usually the high level stuff. And also, did you know, you could also gut those fish and sometimes get a blue or green card out of those bad boys. Also, a lot of people kind of forget this too. Over at Bandit Camp, you can actually swap in your full cards, green, blue, or red, for scrap. That's right, so green goes for 15, blue card goes for 40, and red card goes for 80. And a lot of times, if you're not going to be running those monuments, or you have an abundance of those cards, because they don't stack, you know, save one or two of each, and then start cashing them out at the Bandit Camp. Bandit Camp is like the place to make that scratch. Alright, so another new technique that has come in recently, and you can use this not only for scrap, for lots of other things, and this curtails nicely into the boat as well, are the teas at the mixing table. Now granted, to get the mixing table might be a bit tough, but you can just walk around the world and find these berries. But more importantly, there is a scrap tea, and just the basic scrap tea is yellow, white, and this will give you a 100% scrap yield for 30 minutes on barrels. So if you're out there just hitting barrels on the road, you're going to get more scrap, but more importantly, if you've got the boat and you're out there hitting those junk piles, you can move to them quickly with the boat, and you're going to get a boosted amount of scrap as well, just with the barrels. So if you got any kind of melee, you're good to go. So if you can find somebody's decayed base with a mixing table inside, well worth your time. So I would say definitely take that, if you can find one and pick it up, do it. Like, absolutely do it. Or sometimes there's a PvE on your server, and you can go out there and actually grab that bad boy. Okay, so on to the big piece here, which a lot of people have just assumed that it's not in, and I can understand why. But since we don't have horses yet, these guys are spawning in the world randomly, and they usually spawn in threes, and they're usually in foresty-ish areas and sometimes hillsides. That's where I've seen them. They spawn in threes, and we do have the composter that is a default blueprint for us. Let me go ahead and show you. I think it's under, yeah, there you go. It takes, what, 2 tarps and 200 wood. here's the thing. It doesn't just take horse dung. It takes anything organic. And remember how we said, hey, fishing is definitely valuable? We can take your junk fish like anchovies, and they also get ground up inside here. Whoops, not a door. They also can get ground up here, or composted rather. And if you spread these bad boys out, you can get even more fertilizer. So if you mix all kinds of stuff, you know how like when you do planting, you can get plant fibers, worms, grubs, whatever? Well, guess what? You can actually just take those, throw them in here, and make even more fertilizer. You can use it to boost your crops if you'd like, or you can just go to the outpost, bandit camp, and you can go out there and just cash them into fertilizer to scrap. And here are some of the rates. Let me go ahead and turn that off so you can see it. 10 scrap for 15 corn. So again, growing and fishing on the water, having it like a small base for that is definitely valuable. 80 cloth for 10 scrap. 5 scrap for 1 trout, 3 scrap for 2 fertilizer. So you can start to see just how this can really exponentially grow out. So if you're doing everything all at once kind of passively while you're out there doing stuff, this can definitely get you a nice foothold very, very quickly. Yeah, lots and lots of stuff. So basically any kind of fish, any kind of big time fish, you probably want to sell at the fishing village if you want to, and then your smaller junkier fish, like what is it, like the tier 3 fish, you can go out here and just throw them inside the composter, especially if you got these bad boys outside. And if you've got a lot of the human meat, you can throw them in here as well, not only for fishing but also for the fish traps. Kind of helps curtail all of those things together, so you can start to see the gameplay loop to how all of these can really interconnect to each other, and how you can just make crazy amounts of scrap with this, right? Right. All right, so the last thing here, which seems kind of obvious, but a lot of people kind of overlook this. If you're doing a lot of these monuments, junk piles, and whatnot, you're going to get a lot of different types of resources. So in the beginning, and I don't always grind these up, but at a recycler, I typically will grind up sheet metal because it gives you good base materials, the semi-body, the rifle body, because let's be honest, you don't really craft AKs, you take them. Road signs for the early game, definitely not mid-game. This is the last resort because this equals base defense, so gears. And then a little bit of tech trash, but I try to keep like 10 of it on base because there's certain things that you need for tech trash, like batteries and stuff like that. Or even, well, not turrets, but like C4 later. So early game, these are definitely good to grind up, but I would definitely try to save these the most. So these last two, I try to maybe stockpile a little bit. Yeah, but this is going to help you get started on any server. Lots of different alternate routes to stay away from any of the action that's out there, because there's a lot of servers with a lot of big groups, a lot of zergs, and especially with the new cultivator update that's in, this is really going to help you guys springboard into the next level. Not only for teas, for boosting, for health, but also for scrap, and it's a great way to trade in any of those materials that you would be growing out there or collecting, and then put it out to the bandit camp to get yourself some of that scrappy scrap. So if you need a base, you already have a major base, but you need like a growing base or a fishing base, this tea base is what you're looking for. This is a cheap base made to be sitting on the water for fishing, for farming, for trading in, for making teas, all that good stuff. It should already be up on the end screen now. And hopefully we'll see you guys in the next live stream / video. Love you, bye!